Guys, welcome back to the continuation of the lecture series on information retrieval. The last time we looked at a basic approach of developing an house system. We said we could use a bag of words approach, and we saw the limitation of using a bag of words approach in that we could miss a lot of documents from being retrieved, and that would not satisfy the information need of our user. So we shall continue to look at the basics of the keyword-based IR system, and we'll see how we can develop a more intelligent information retrieval system. So the techniques for developing an intelligent IR system that can address some of the problems that we earlier identified is: first, we may need to start taking into account the meaning of words instead of just taking them as a group of characters and matching them or doing just a match or a comparison. We may need to start looking at what does a word mean. Then it might be important to also look at the order of the words in the query. For instance, New York makes sense than York New. So the order might give more intuition about the might give more meaning and can help our IR system to return a more relevant document. Okay, then we may need to adapt to the user based on implicit or explicit feedback. That's very important. Yeah, what do we mean by explicit feedback? When a user goes to a search engine and types in a query, a search, and the system returns a list of documents or website, if we see that the user scrolls down and just didn't click on any of those links, and the user types again, we modifies the the query, the search that was entered, then that is an explicit feedback to our web search system that the user was not satisfied in at the returned links in his first search, and so the user modified the query, so something that he believes should be able to give something, should be able to help the web search system to get what is actually needed. Sometimes it might be adding additional word, sometimes it might be removing some words, sometimes it might be like reframing the words in the search. Those are explicit feedback. Implicit feedback could be that the user types in something and there's a return of like 1 to 5 document, and the user just went straight to number 5 and didn't click any of the 1 to 4. That's an implicit feedback to tell us that the 1 to 4, the user sees it that they are not relevant to what the person wants. For instance, like we saw the last time, if the user enters in Apple and we return Apple as a company, the first, and we return some little apple in Manhattan, Kansas, and we returned a lot of other things. Maybe at number 10 we return apple as a fruit, and we just see that the user just click on apple as a fruit. So that is an implicit feedback to us that the user is not interested in Apple as a company or any other Apple. So we could extend search with related terms. So you often see that when you're typing that there will be some autocomplete, or you could actually help that is behind the scene, help the user. So if the user types US president we can help extend that search and put United States President uh, as added up to the search that will be taken to look at the document. So if the user types in China, we may extend the search to also PRC, People's Republic of China, so that the search engine can take both China and PRC and use that to look up its database for relevant document. We can also perform automatic spell checking or diacritics restoration. So automatic spell checking, or you could also take into account the authority of the source. So what that means is that there are certain web links or web sources that we know that they are an authority in certain fields. So that will help us to be able to actually return information based on what websites we feel are more authoritative in a particular kind of topics. We see that when we get to page ranks, when you want to know which pages are actually a hub uh, and those who are not hubs. We see that when we get those who are authority. All right. So this is a typical IR system that's a little more intelligent than just having the bag of words approach. So what we have here, you see that we now have a lot coming into place. So let me start from the text database. So we have our document in a text format in a database. We have the database manager. So, and then the database manager communicates with the text database and it outputs the text for whatever we want, for whatever the user wants. You also have the indexing. So what this is saying is this. Okay, so indexing means we index the document as we see shortly. We index the document in an invited file format so that we can easily reference them. Then another important thing is the user feedback. Should go into the user queries and we refine the queries to refine our search, and that gives us a retrieve document. We rank the document, we go through a ranking system, give a rank document, give it back to the user. The user looks at the rank document, sees whether it meets its needs or not. If it doesn't meet its needs, the user can give some implicit or explicit feedback. So these are the processes. So let's see the component of an intelligent information retrieval system. So we could have text operation form index words. So that is, we could tokenize at the query level. We could tokenize the words in the query. We could also tokenize the words in the document. So don't forget, we are looking at two things now, the front end and the back end. The front end is what the user keys in. The back end are the documents that the IR system is preparing for retrieval. So we could tokenize the user queries instead of just taking them as a single word or as single sentence. We could tokenize them. We'll also do the same on the back end for the document. So tokenization just means breaking them into words, individual words. We could remove stop word. Now, what are stop words? Stop words are words that occurs frequently in document. Examples like do, di, a, and. We could remove stop word. We could also do stemming. Stemming actually, from the word stem, is actually reducing a word into its stem, into its base word. So, for instance, let me look at saying information. We could reduce information to inform. Inform is the base word for information. So that anytime somebody keys in inform, we could expand it to information, or the person keys in information, we will also make sure we return inform. Alright. So that could also help in making the IR system more robust. Indexing construct an inverted index of word to document pointers, and we'll see that shortly, what we mean by inverted index. So let's see how we map from keywords to document IDs in the next. So this is a typical example. Now I want to go through the process of indexing, also referred to as inverted index. The word inversion means that we are now going from the word to document instead of from document to word. So in this scenario, we have two documents, document 1 and document 2. Document 1 is I did enact Julius Caesar, I was killed, I the capital Brutus killed me. Document 2, so let it be with Caesar, the noble Brutus, I told you Caesar was ambitious. So this is what we have available to our IR system on the back end. So what we do to this document is we need to prepare this document by indexing it so that it will be easy when the user keys in a query, we can easily return relevant document out of this. So to prepare this document, we go through these three processes separated by this arrow. So this is one process, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So the first is we take each individual word in the document and list them out. So that forms, each word is like a term. So I did, enact, just as they go, was killed, Brutus killed, and that stops here. And you can see the document ID is 1, as this is coming from document 1 up to this me, which is this. Then we do the same thing for document 2. We start from so up to the last one. You will see that one of the things we also did is we removed capital letters from some of them, so that some of the things we did here, except for the I, all other ones you see that we turn them to small letters or lowercase letters. Alright. So the next stage is we sort the terms. You see that we now sort the terms alphabetically. So ambitious was the last step, but starting with A, we sort it. Now definitely, since we have sorted the terms, the document ID we also go with them. Now the last stage is for us to now create what we call the term document frequency and the posting list. And how this is created is this. We go through this second stage, the first term, which is ambition. We put in the term here. Then we count how many times does the term appear in the document? That's the meaning of document frequency. How many times does this term ambitious appears in the document? Pay attention that in the document means that in different documents, not the same document. So ambitious appears only in document 2. So that means appears only once. So we have its frequency, number of times is 1. B appears once, 1. Brutus appears twice and in 2 different documents. So that's why we have Brutus to be 2. Then Capital appears 1. Caesar appears 3 times, but it appears twice in document 2. So we just count that as a duplication. So since it appears twice in document 2, this is Caesar, this is Caesar, we just count it as just 1. But it also appears in document 1, so that means it appears 2 times in the collection, in the corpus. That's why you have Caesar's history. So that's how we prepare our inverted index. And if you go through the rest, you will see it say killed appears twice, but they are both in document 1, so we just count it as 1. Was appears twice, but it's in 2 different documents, so we have to count it as 2 documents. So once we are done with the term document frequency, we also want to keep the index of the document in which the terms appears. So that is what we call the posting list. And like I said, we call this inverted index because we started from document that contains the terms, but now we are now starting from terms that contains reference to the document. So now have the posting list is a list of the document IDs that contains the terms. So ambitious is only in document 2, B is only in document 2, Brutus is in document 1 and document 2. So that is why we have this arrow to it, just like a linked list. So this shows the document it appears. Same thing, Caesar appears in document 1 and document 2. You see that D appears in document 1 and document 2. Was appears in document 1 and document 2. So that's how we create our inverted index or indexing. I hope that makes a lot of sense. So we'll continue from here. Thank you for listening and see you in the next one.